Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
My name is Joe W. I'm an alcoholic. I only got drunk once for 30 years. I'd like to congratulate the birthday people and thank Brad for tracking me down and being a little persistent. I came up with several very good excuses to get out of this, but here I am. And welcome to the newcomers, who I'm mainly talking to tonight. If you're new here, I am brought to you tonight by the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. There's no doubt in my mind, if I hadn't literally stumbled across AA, that I would be dead quite some time ago. No doubt in my mind about that. And also, I know about drugs. I know all about drugs, but I identify as an alcoholic, one, because it is a tradition pretty much, and two, because I only did drugs when I was drunk, but I was drunk all the time. And I was. I had a 30-year run. I never really thought about it till I got in the program, but I suppose I'm from an alcoholic family. My grandmother was an alcoholic, both my parents, brothers, aunts, uncles, and cousins. It occurred to me that my entire family's been rip-roaring drunk for the last 500 years, probably. I grew up in the 50s, to which I'm grateful for. Period of time there growing up where I was sober. And the 50s were really different, you know. Everybody was really dumb, and I fit right in. My parents were dumb, everybody was dumb. We didn't have cell phones or cable TV or any of that stuff. Didn't have drugs. I was very fortunate. There were no drugs in my high school. If there had been drugs, I'd still be in high school, I'm pretty sure. And I went away to college at about 20. And I had discovered the guitar in my I'm a musician, of course. I discovered the guitar in my senior year of high school. I actually was first oboe in orchestra. And about halfway through my junior year, it occurred to me that I was never going to get any girls playing oboe. So I picked up guitar right about the time that the Beatles were discovered. And in college, I got in a band It was really easy then. You just had to play the songs that were on the radio and you were fine. You didn't really have to be any good if you had Beatle boots and guitars like they had, then you were okay. People would come and hear you. And you know, I was always really scared. I was always really nervous and scared of people. We moved a lot. So I went to 4 or 5 different schools for about 3 or 4 years per school. We moved a lot, and I would have to make all new friends, and I was just scared. I just wanted to be liked. And I was really scared of everybody, and it was really scary to play guitar in front of people. In college, I started drinking beer. Not really till I was about 18 or 19 did I really get into alcohol. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Also, I reckon, as far as I can tell, I have adult attention deficit. I always have. My son has it, and in trying to raise him, I recognize so many things in me that I went through growing up. And they didn't know about it in the 50s. They hadn't diagnosed it, and they hadn't done any work about it. You were just different and kind of a troublemaker and couldn't focus and couldn't complete tasks. And we're all over the place. And another thing you did was sway back and forth when you talked. So, you know, alcohol made me feel more confident. And I was a happy drunk. I was fun to be around. And I had the courage to get up in front of you, even though I really was a horrible guitar player. And I had the courage to get up in front of you and perform. And also, it made me able a little bit. It took the edge off the attention deficit. It was an attempt to self-medicate, looking back. It really did, for some reason. It made me able to focus and I was able to work at things if I drank in moderation. Looking back, it really was an attempt to self-medicate because I didn't understand why my brains were all over the place. So I drank and then discovered the wonderful world of drugs. Of course, back then was when we had good drugs. And enjoyed those too. And I would say for the first part of my drinking, it was okay. I was able to function. I was able to be responsible. I got a lot of work done in terms of school and in terms of being a musician. Occasional problems. But for the first part of my drinking, things were good. And I enjoyed it. And let's see. Eventually got into a band that was pretty well prominent in the Midwest, word of mouth, and we were noticed by a record company, and at about the age of 21 or 22, I was able to record an album, and that came out and did pretty good for a first album. And I did that under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And so what happened was I achieved an amount of success using drugs and alcohol. And I made the mistake of deciding that was the winning formula for me. It never occurred to me that it probably would have been more in tune had I not been drinking and doing drugs. But I was young and naive, and I really did. I really made the mistake. I thought those were tools that I could use as a creative person, and became mentally dependent on writing songs high, and drinking before I played. Couple things. My peer group in the 70s all drank. We had partied pretty darn good. And we were kind of stereotyped. You know, our musicians were wild and crazy and partied. It was nothing really wrong with it. It was generally accepted that musicians did that. And so, you know, it was okay. The other thing is that I had this great justification that to be creative, in history, creative people have always wanted to explore the full range of emotions. You know, could Jimi Hendrix have played like that if he wasn't out of his mind on acid? Probably not. You know, could Ernest Hemingway have written like that if he was an alcoholic? Probably not. It never occurred to me that all those people were dead. So, I guess by now we're into the second part of my drinking, in which gradually I became dependent on alcohol, switched over to hard stuff, mostly due to my English friends who drank brandy and ginger ale by the bathtub full. And I started having problems. In other words, I was drunk a lot in public. I never really was too drunk to play, but I was obviously feeling good on stage. And after a good concert, for a reward for me, we would party. I would party. I, like I say, was drunk a lot, and the focus came off some white wine before the show to feel a little loose and feel a little braver and be able to focus. The focus came off using the alcohol as a self-medication in moderation. I gradually lost my perspective to where I was drinking all the time, whether I was playing or not. And I was drunk a lot, and Let's see. In time, I'm trying to think where I was. Well, there was a good 10 years there like that. More and more, I had a reputation of being a little too crazy. Really fun, but a little bit too crazy. And great stories. I don't know if you've ever heard stories about me, but they're pretty much true. I was really good friends with the drummer of The Who, Keith Moon, and I ran with him for quite some time. He taught me the finer arts of blowing up hotel rooms and stuff like that, which I don't do anymore, but I do know how. Yeah. Well, I suppose the next thing to talk about is the third phase of my drinking. And I ended up with a nice little combination, which was vodka. Of course, I drank anything all the time, but drink of choice was vodka. And very fond of cocaine and Camel Lights. And very, very slowly and gradually, I burned bridges. I started really not to be able to perform well. I started a slow spiral downward, and I would say at that point, I had the disease of alcoholism. I didn't really know that I had the disease of alcoholism. I didn't really know anything. I got to backtrack real quick and say that in the second part of, well, no, I don't. No, never mind. Never mind. So, I burned bridges. I didn't get along with anybody. I gradually became a full-time drinker. The only people that were around me were people that would party with me and my band. And I paid my way through it. Gradually starting to run out of money, but you know, a functioning alcoholic is an alcoholic who has enough money to buy another drink. Pretty much. And I did that for a long time, with horrible hangovers. And the creative process pretty much ground down. And I started hanging out with questionable people. I all of a sudden wasn't really asked to play on people's albums anymore, and record companies weren't really interested in me. And I still didn't see it. And the last couple years of my drinking were horrible. Because I had done this for 25 years or so, and for a long time I'd had a grasp on it. And it worked for me in the first part of my drinking, and then I worked for it. And gradually alcohol ate a big hole in me. And took away everything in my life that was good. And I ended up, I thought alcohol was my best friend for 25 years. And I ended up like, I don't understand. I asked my friend alcohol, what do we do now? And my friend alcohol said, but you know what? I could not stop. I could not stop. If I was awake, I was drunk. I was drinking. The worst thing that could happen to me was that I would run out of alcohol and would have to wait, or cocaine, and would have to wait until the stores opened. One time I was in a place and I ran out of alcohol and didn't have any, and I was freaking out. Man, I was freaking out. And I got this idea. I went to, you couldn't get any alcohol, the liquor stores were closed. I went and I found a hotel that had mini bars, and I rented 4 rooms. And drank everything. And gradually I became violent, and gradually I became a really bad person, not fun to be with. People didn't really want to be with me anymore, so I ended up at home and I drank alone. And like I say, the last couple years were so terrifying because I knew that I was really sick. And I knew I was going down fast, really faster than the first 25 years. The last couple of years were just ridiculously demoralizing, all that stuff. And I couldn't stop. I could not stop. Couldn't keep it down. And still drank. Didn't live anywhere. Had sores all over my face. Never washed. Same clothes. Threw up a lot. No friends, no car. Had pretty much spent all my money. And I turned in, I ended up, as I like to say, a godless, hateful thing. That's how I came in. And I never dreamed that I could be sober. I didn't want to be sober. I didn't know what sobriety was. I hadn't been sober in 30 years. Didn't want to know about it. But I didn't know what else to do. I came in, I went in and stopped drinking, and basically I intended to change socks, get some people off my back, gain a little weight, and get back my focus, you know, and be able to go out and moderate some more. That's how I came in. That's the only thing that I knew to do. And I didn't know I didn't like anybody, I didn't like anything, I didn't trust anybody. Like I say, a godless, hateful thing. And I read the big book, read chapter 3, and discovered I had a disease. I had always thought that I was different. I was unique. I was special and different. And you didn't understand. If only you understood. And I think God's great gift to the alcoholic is the comma. Yeah, I know. But, you know, we've always got a comma. But, me. So I thought, you know, when things went good, it was my careful planning that caused that. When things went bad, it's because you didn't listen. Simple as that. And I thought I was different, unique, and I felt very, very alone. And I couldn't believe that this book, somebody wrote this book about me, and they didn't even know me. Pretty astounding. And the thing that scared me a lot was in the beginning of the book, in the doctor's opinion, the doctor says there is no medical help for the alcoholic. There is no medical help. There's no cure. Never has been. In all written history, there's never been a cure for alcoholism until AA. I'd like to say real quick, when they at the end of the century, they made a list of the 100 most amazing things that happened last century, and it baffles me that AA wasn't one of them. Because we never had any hope until then. Anyway, I stuck around, I went to some meetings, didn't like it, read the big book, started working the steps, and I began to stack up consecutive days of sobriety. And I realized that if you can stack up consecutive days of sobriety, things get better. And my sponsor said that's God working in your life. And I went to meetings, and I met other alcoholics, and I met guys with a lot of time that had a sense of humor, and they didn't have to drink. My God, they didn't have to drink because I had to. I could not stop. And I wanted that so much. So I hung out with them. And I learned their stories. And I realized that I am just another drunk. I'm not special, just another drunk. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. And I stuck around. And I had what the book says, a profound spiritual awakening. I made a commitment to God, and I turned my life and my will over to God, And gradually, one day at a time, he started to give me my life back. And there's no doubt in my mind that there is a God, because I'm here. And eventually, the craving, the obsession went away, which I never thought possible. And on a good day, I turned my life and my will over to God, and all those things that I tried to control and run are His business, not mine. And I would say that God does for me now what alcohol used to do. But He takes so long. It's maddening. If you're new, man, you're used to self-medicating. You're used to, I know how to fix it. Bang. I'm drunk, it's fixed. And you gotta slow down. You gotta slow down. To God, the way God runs things, it's a lot slower. And I get things get going good for me. I get busy, things get going good, and I'm doing really good. I stop having conscious contact with my higher power. Start missing meetings. So easy to do. And all of a sudden I don't like anything. And everybody's a jerk. It's so important, that conscious contact with your higher power. In this day and age, there's so much material stuff going on. It's so easy to get into the internet and your family and money and your car and your job and sports and the daily grind. A couple days can go by. And there is this other place that I have discovered. And if you go sit down by yourself and be quiet and try and get all those voices to stop, it takes work. But there is a silence there, a stillness. And I'm convinced that that's where God is. And I try and go there. All the time, as much as I can. And check in that place. Check in. Just be still. And if I do that, I am really able to accept what God has in plan for me every day. And if I don't do that, I pay for it. Gotta stay by the program. That's about all I got. I'd like to thank you all. If you're new here, stick around. I would not be here if it didn't work. None of us would be here unless it worked. And it's the only way. It's the only way to stop. So I wish you all peace. I like to tell my wife that I love her. And thank you, Brad. That's it.
We hope you've enjoyed this recording. To obtain additional copies, receive a free catalog of AA and Al-Anon talks, or to find out about our tape and CD of the Month Club, call Encore Audio Archives at 1-800-878-1308 or visit our website at www.12steptapes.com.
Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with, and it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.